Red Bull just collapsed from the inside, and Max Verstappen might be the next one out. In just 12 months, they lost Adrian Newey, key engineers, and now Jos Verstappen is threatening to pull Max out of the team completely. With 2026 rules about to shake the grid, Verstappen's exit could destroy Red Bull's championship hopes and reshape Formula One forever. This is the kind of drama the F1 world never sees coming. So smash that subscribe button right now because this bombshell could change everything before the next lights go out. In just 12 months, Red Bull Racing has gone from being Formula One's most dominant force to standing on the edge of internal collapse. Key architects of their success have left, critical systems are under scrutiny, and for the first time since his debut, Max Verstappen's future with the team is no longer guaranteed. And now, his own father Jos Verstappen has dropped a statement so explosive that it could shift the balance of the entire 2026 grid. It began with quiet departures. First, whispers of Adrian Newey's exit. Then, confirmations. One by one, top-level aerodynamicists, power unit engineers, and race strategy staff have either stepped down or been reassigned. Publicly, Red Bull brushed it off as evolution. But insiders paint a much darker picture: internal fractures, pressure from ongoing FIA investigations, and growing mistrust between leadership and the Verstappen camp. What's more alarming is the timing. These exits have come just as the team finalizes its concept for the 2026 regulations, a season that demands a completely new design philosophy. This is not a minor rules refresh. It's a clean slate for hybrid architecture, aero balance, and energy recovery strategy. To lose experienced hands now isn't inconvenient. It's catastrophic. Max Verstappen, usually laser-focused on track performance, has become deeply involved in the behind-the-scenes unraveling. Sources close to Red Bull confirm that Max is personally reviewing team strategy reports, voicing concerns over engineering turnover, and questioning whether the current leadership still has the tools to deliver a winning car for the next era. That kind of involvement is rare. And when it happens, it means the trust is fading. Then came the spark that lit the fuse: Jos Verstappen's latest comments in a private post-race meeting. According to well-placed sources, Jos stated flatly that Red Bull is no longer the team we signed for and warned that options will be explored if this continues into 2025. That statement may seem vague to outsiders, but in Formula One, especially coming from Jos, it's a clear message: Max's loyalty is conditional, and Red Bull is dangerously close to breaking that condition. What makes this moment so volatile is how fast things have changed. Just last season, Red Bull was untouchable. Now, every strength is being questioned. The technical team is thinner. The management is under pressure. And with the FIA watching closely after recent compliance breaches, even the team's political protection seems to be cracking. It's not just about Max leaving. It's about whether Red Bull can even sustain its dominance at all. And that's what makes this story explosive. Because if Red Bull loses Max, not just the driver, but the icon, the champion, the face of their golden era, they don't just start from zero. They enter crisis mode. And Jos Verstappen knows that. He's not bluffing. He's signaling the start of the next power shift in Formula One, one that could make or break Red Bull's future. The unraveling of Red Bull began not with public controversy, but with quiet departures. The first to raise eyebrows was Adrian Newey, a name synonymous with Red Bull dominance. His decision to step away from the 2026 project signaled a deeper issue: a lack of internal alignment on how the team would approach the new regulations. While publicly framed as creative freedom, the truth was more political. Newey reportedly disagreed with the direction Red Bull's leadership was taking, and when your chief architect walks, others start to follow. In the months that followed, key figures in Red Bull's technical structure either resigned or were reassigned. Engineers from power unit development, energy deployment calibration, and chassis simulation began leaving the project in what insiders now call a controlled exodus. These weren't rookie engineers. These were veterans, many of whom had worked directly under Newey or played critical roles in Verstappen's championship-winning cars. Their exit didn't just create vacancies, it shattered continuity. This fragmentation couldn't have come at a worse time. The 2026 regulation overhaul requires total integration between power unit and aerodynamic philosophy, something Red Bull mastered in previous cycles. But that integration depends on collaboration between departments that now barely communicate. The synergy that once made Red Bull unstoppable has turned into segmented chaos. Technical directors are siloed. Deadlines are missed. And Verstappen is watching it all unfold from the inside. Compounding the issue is the growing tension between Christian Horner and Helmut Marko. While Horner has maintained a diplomatic front, Marko's influence over the Verstappen camp gives him a far more direct role in internal dynamics. Sources suggest that Marko has expressed frustration over leadership decisions and has even challenged resource distribution across departments. In a well-oiled machine, disagreement drives performance. But in a fractured structure, it leads to sabotage, intentional or not. The FIA's increased scrutiny over Red Bull's pre-2026 development only adds pressure. Following questions about simulation procedures and energy system modeling, the FIA requested internal data that further exposed inconsistencies in how Red Bull documented its early-stage tests. While nothing was deemed illegal, the optics were damaging. For a team built on performance trust, even the appearance of pushing regulatory gray zones feeds the narrative that Red Bull's foundation is no longer stable. And Verstappen? He's not just a passenger in this chaos. He's invested in how the car is built, how the team responds to pressure, and how each decision shapes his title window. With 2026 representing the start of a new era, Verstappen knows he cannot afford to gamble on a team that's no longer unified. Jos Verstappen's public warning isn't just fatherly frustration, it's a strategic message. They are watching, evaluating, and, if needed, preparing to walk away. The dominoes are lined up. The question is no longer if Red Bull is vulnerable, it's how far the cracks run. And with Max Verstappen now positioned as both the team's greatest asset and its greatest potential loss, every meeting, every decision, and every leak from inside Milton Keynes pushes the situation closer to breaking point. When Jos Verstappen speaks, the paddock listens not because of volume, but because of precision. He doesn't speak often, but when he does, it means something. So when he recently told trusted insiders that Red Bull is no longer the team we committed to, the effect was immediate. For some, it was a warning. For others, it was the start of a countdown. Jos rarely issues public statements without intent. And this one was calculated to send a message straight into Red Bull's control room. Behind that message is a growing frustration that Red Bull's internal leadership is no longer aligned with Max's interests. Jos has spent the last decade managing Max's rise, protecting his space, and ensuring he always had the machinery to match his talent. But now, the Verstappen camp feels increasingly out of the loop, not in race strategy, but in long-term planning. Technical decisions are made without their input. Structural changes happen without prior notice. That kind of drift breaks trust, and Jos is not one to accept that quietly. It's also no coincidence that Jos has reportedly begun discreet conversations with senior figures at Ferrari and Mercedes. These aren't negotiations. They're reconnaissance. The Verstappens don't make impulsive moves. They study the terrain, gather leverage, and act only when it's unavoidable or strategically perfect. Right now, they're mapping escape routes. The contract may run through 2028, but exit clauses are in place. If Red Bull continues down its current path, Jos wants to ensure that Max doesn't go down with the ship. Within Red Bull, the mood is turning defensive. Senior staff are now prioritizing internal communication strategy over innovation. Meetings are no longer about pushing limits. They're about damage control. Engineers are briefing PR, and management is crafting narratives. And all of it, every quiet conversation, every policy shift is driven by one goal: to convince the Verstappens to stay. Because if they walk, Red Bull's entire 2026 project collapses under the weight of reputational and structural instability. This is where the bombshell lands hardest. Jos isn't just talking about 2026. He's questioning whether Red Bull's current leadership can be trusted to build for any future. The loss of Newey was a trigger. The internal exits were red flags. But now, it's about something deeper: the erosion of identity. The team that once stood for innovation, discipline, and fierce loyalty is looking more like an unstable corporate machine struggling to hold its pieces together. The Verstappens understand the power of timing. They know that by speaking now, not in the middle of a contract year, but at the dawn of a development cycle they apply maximum pressure. Red Bull has one last window to recalibrate. Rebuild trust. Reassert control. But that window is closing. Jos didn't just hint at consequences. He lit the fuse. And everyone inside the paddock is watching to see if Red Bull blinks. Because if they don't, the Verstappens might do more than walk. They might take Red Bull's golden era with them. The collapse wouldn't just be symbolic, it would be functional. The driver, the engineers, the sponsors, even the talent pipeline all tied, directly or indirectly, to Verstappen's continued presence. And once that presence is gone, Red Bull doesn't just face a new chapter. It faces an identity crisis, with no clear way out.